Hey, it's Natalie, and here we are on Wisdom Wednesday. And has anyone ever asked you a question that just made you pause and ponder, like stumped you, and you're like, hmm, that's a really good question? Well, that just happened to me in a conversation with my nephew, and we were talking about something that I thought I knew a lot about. And he asked me a simple question. He said, are you sure? And he asked me not once, not twice, but three times. And by the third time, hearing, are you sure? I had to pause and ponder and take in what the conversation was and ask myself, why are you so sure? Right? Listen to this other person. Why are you so sure? And at the end of the conversation, we were able to come to the conclusion that I had some truth and he had some truth. And together we had greater understanding. And so I'm going to ask you the same question that my nephew asked me that made me pause, ponder, and reflect. Are you sure about what you believe about God, about His Son, about the Bible, and about how you live out your faith? Are you sure that it's rooted in facts and not your feelings? That it's rooted in truth and not traditions? And do you believe what you believe because you've researched it, you've studied it, you've taken a step back and examined your faith, and you've asked critical questions of it, and you scrutinized it, and you put it under a microscope to evaluate it, to take a closer look at it? Is that why you're sure? Or are you sure because it's what you've been taught? It's what you know, and you can give testimony after testimony about how God saved you, provided for you. Which one? Facts or feelings? Truth or traditions? Researched it for yourself or just received it and accepted it as truth? These are critical questions that we should all ask of our faith. Now, not many of us are willing to do that. Not many of us are willing to evaluate and examine what we believe. We will read the Bible, but we're not too sure about studying it. And reading and studying are two different things. And not many of us are willing to take a step back from all of our religious activities, all of our religious affiliations, the traditions that we've been following, and examine them. Because we believe what we believe, and we're confident that this is it, and we've got our testimony that this is how it works. But what if I said that there was more? That there was another level of understanding, and that perhaps we've only had a little bit of truth, but that there was just so much more that could take us to another level of understanding and commitment and living out our faith completely differently than the way we've been living it, to give us a deeper relationship with Yah. Would you be willing to examine your faith? Would you be willing to take a step back and study and research for yourself so that you could be sure about what you believed and what your testimony was? Are you willing to do that? I challenge you to do it because it will open your eyes to another level of freedom. You will fall in love with the Most High in ways that you never even thought possible. You will understand Yahshua and his life and the example that he left us. You will look at the world completely differently because now your eyes are open to another level of understanding that you don't get when you're not willing to step back and examine. So I ask you, are you sure about what you believe? Or do you think there is a possibility that there could be more? And I'll be very transparent with you on this video. I challenged my faith 4 years now. And I took a step back from all of my religious activities, my religious affiliations, my religious responsibilities as an associate minister. I took a step back from everything that I thought I knew. I stopped being Martha, the busy one who's doing the work and serving, to become Mary and sit at the feet of Yahshua. And what I learned about my faith has turned my world upside down. And I've now had to make a decision. Do I stay on the path of tradition that I've been taught? Or do I walk on the path of truth? And I chose to walk on the path of truth. I chose to turn away from anything that was a stumbling block to me growing closer to Yah and understanding His ways, understanding His word, and living what I call a lifestyle of faith. The things that I have learned, I have been pouring into you through videos, and I haven't given you the whole full truth of what I've been learning, because some people are like, you're scary, you've lost your way, you don't love the Father. And that's so far from the truth, because actually I love Him more than I ever thought I could. And I thought I loved Him. And now I'm finding out there's so much more. And everything that I thought I knew, that I examined, I had to put that aside and allow my heart to receive truth, allow my eyes to see truth, and allow my ears to hear it. And it all starts with being willing to ask yourself the question, are you sure? Are you sure about what you believe about God? Are you sure about what you believe about His Son? Are you sure about what the Bible is? And are you sure about your identity in Him? Because what you believe about the Father determines everything else. And I didn't even know that His name wasn't God. In the Bible it says God. In the Bible it says Lord in all caps. Not understanding that He has a name and that He wants us to call on His name, not His title. And so His name is Yahweh, right? And I call Him Yah. I got Him. I do. I shorten it. I call Him Yah. There's just something loving and affectionate about the Most High Yah, or Yahweh. And now that I know that that's His name, I use it all the time. And I don't call Him by His title, because I'm in an intimate relationship with Him. And some people call Him Father, Abba. That's great. But at least know that He has a name. And Jesus, I didn't know for many, many years, most of my life, that His name wasn't Jesus, that was a transliteration, and that we as people changed His name, but Yah ordained His name to be Yahshua. And there are many different ways to say it in Hebrew. I say Yahshua, but that's the name He ordained, and we changed it to Jesus. Why is that? Why did we do that? Help me understand it. Research it for yourself. Ask yourself the question and be willing to research it. And then my identity. Some people say, your identity doesn't matter because we're all saved in Jesus. Well, however, in the Bible, they make a distinction. It's made a distinction between first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. What does that mean? If there's no difference, then why does that say it? Research it. Ask yourself the question. And if identity doesn't matter, why is identity theft so big in the world? Why do people get angry and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get their identity back? And why is it that many nations of people, groups of people, know their identity, know their history, but those of us who are part of the transatlantic slave trade, we don't? So if identity didn't matter, why does everybody else know about their identity but us? And again, going back to the Bible, different nations, different people groups. Culture mattered. Identity mattered. Lifestyle mattered. How you lived out your faith, it all matters. So if you say that it doesn't, are When I took this step back away from being Martha and just sat at the feet of Yahshua, I emerged with another level of faith, another level of understanding, another level of significance, and why this is so important. And so I challenge you. Yep, I'm challenging you. Examine what you believe. Prove it. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 says, prove all things. Prove what you believe, why you believe it, your identity. Research it. I guarantee you, you will be blown away by what you find. And if you say it doesn't matter because you believe in Jesus and you're saved and that's all that counts, I would ask you the question, are you sure? And the reason I'm going to ask you that is because that's not rooted in truth. That's rooted in tradition. And this is a life or death situation. What you believe determines how you live out your faith. And I think it's so important that you would want to get it right. So here is the challenge. Are you sure that you want to skip it? I don't think you do. Are you sure? Because if you are sure about what you believe, then why be hesitant to prove it? You'll be amazed. You may find it that, hey, everything you believed is true. Or you may find that there's some questions that you need to seek the Most High on so that you live a life that honors Him. Okay, that's all I got. I think that was enough. I pray for you that you would accept this challenge so that you can be sure about what you believe and how you're living out your faith. Be blessed.